Good morning, traders. I am Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Tuesday, October 8th. Today's moves follow a downbeat day on Wall Street yesterday. During regular trading, stocks started and stayed in the red. The Dow ended nearly 400 points or 1% lower. The S&P 500 shed 55 points or almost 1%. The Nasdaq fell 213 points or more than 1.1%. But let's get into Tuesday's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're up 0.36%. That's positive, more than 0.3%. Gotta like that. Why is it moving high? Well, the bond yields are starting to fall. I mean, we got a host of Fed speakers today, and the Fed officials are really going to be pushing forward their expectations to do a 25 basis point cut in November. And the market was kind of priced in a full percentage point cut by the end of the year. That's not what the Fed officials were saying, and the market always seems to, overdo the expectations when it comes to changes in changes in interest rates. And to think that there's going to be a full percentage point rate cut by the end of the year, it wasn't in line with what the Fed officials were thinking. It wasn't in line with their dot plots or the Fed speak. So today we get a lot of Fed speak on the tape, and they'll probably push forward the idea of a 25 basis point cut in November. Let's talk Chinese stocks. So, Chinese stocks are moving lower this morning. There's a lot of profit taking going on. China had a big economic briefing earlier this morning. They didn't announce any stimulus action, any additional stimulus action, and that caused some of the markets to get a little bit concerned because more stimulus the better. But without it, start taking profits, and that's what we saw happening. That's what we see happen with the Chinese stocks this morning. PepsiCo, ticker PEP. They delivered earnings, missed on revenue. Honeywell spinning off a division into its own public company. General Motors, that analyst is having an analyst day today, could create some market volatility in the headlines. But let's take a look at what's going on overseas. We got the DAX. The DAX is down 29 points. That's 0.15%. You got to remember the DAX was down over 100 points early this morning, so this is a nice, comeback. German industrial output grew 2.9% for the month of August. That's reversing the 2.9% decline that happened in July. So that's positive. The FTSE's down 91 points or 1.10%. Look in France. The CAC in Paris is down 40 points. That's 0.54%. Now the CAC is trading lower because luxury stocks are falling due to the Chinese economic briefing not containing any additional stimulus action. But that's also partially true for the FTSE, which is down over 1%. Because the FTSE's got those minor stocks which are lower because they're very sensitive to what's going on in China, and when China doesn't release additional stimulus programs, you're seeing some weakness there, and plus there's some currency risk with respect to the British pound that you got to keep aware of. But let's talk about what happened last night in Asia. In Asia, the Nikkei dropped 395 points or 1%. You're starting to see, the yen recoup some of its recent losses, which is causing equities to slide. I get that. Hong Kong, on the other hand, the Hang Seng dropped 2,172 points or 9.41%. Wow. And that's all due to the fact that the profit taking and market sentiment being weakened because China didn't didn't announce any additional stimulus programs in that media briefing this morning. In China, the Shanghai index jumped 153 points. That's 4.59%. Remember, they were closed for last week. So this is just kind of like gearing up for lost time. But China, strong gains, especially we saw strong gains in the semiconductor, software stocks, and other sectors as well. Let's keep an eye on oil because oil's been on a tear as of late. But today, it's pulling back. We got oil down 2%. WTI is trading at $75.53 a barrel. Brent's at $79.30 a barrel. The main focus remains on the Middle East events, but oil traders appear to be taking some profits, partially due to that Chinese economic briefing. So we got to keep that in mind. And, after the bell today, we get the API, the American Petroleum Institute. They're going to be releasing their stockpile estimates for last week, something to keep in mind of. Oil is giving up some of the recent gains, but we got to keep an eye on the Middle East events unfolding. But that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update, Emily.
Bill, you're watching all of that this morning, along with keeping track of additional details. You did mention a host of Fed speak coming today and how that's increasingly important to keep track of. We'll get to those economic events in just a moment. But before we get there, earnings action will heat up as we move throughout the week. But we'll start with Tuesday. Bill, what is going on in terms of earnings action?
We're talking Pepsi, ticker PEP, Paul Woodward Paul. They beat by 2 cents, but it was done on lower revenue. And, that's, I was kind of thinking about this. Like, I don't like what I didn't think it could really deliver a strong beat. And anyways, Pepsi is trading lower, down a little over 0.3%, 0.37%. So yeah, not a horrible report, but not anything to be excited about. Pepsi trading lower off of a 2 cent earning beat on lower revenue. Upcoming tomorrow morning, we got Helen of Troy. That's ticker HELE, Henry Edward, Larry Edward. EPS expectations is $1.08. Expected move is 16.46%. One to keep an eye on. HELE, Henry Edward, Larry Edward, Emily.
And Bill, now to those economic events, a couple of economic reports worth noting. And then, as you mentioned, a bunch of Fed speak, important to keep track of. So, Bill, what is going on in terms of economic events?
Well, I mean, at 8:30 a.m. we get international trades in goods and services. At 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, we get the API oil stockpiles reports. But there's a host of Fed speak. Earlier this morning, Adriana Krugler was speaking. She's a Fed governor. But at 12:45 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to be hearing from Atlanta Fed Bank President Raphael Bostic. 4 p.m. we're going to hear from Boston Fed Bank President Susan Collins. Then at 7:30 p.m. tonight, we're going to hear from Fed Chairman Philip Jefferson. So yeah, we got a lot of Fed speak, which is really going to be, keeping the market's attention this morning. But don't forget, we get that CPI data coming out on Thursday. That's going to be the big mover for the weekend. That data could come in hot, so we got to be a little cautious on that. But that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update today, Emily.
And speaking of paying attention, you will be watching, of course, all of those economic events, the Fed speak, earnings action, but you're also still paying attention to other types of data and information, news and headlines coming out of different sectors and segments. You're watching things like guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, catalyst calls. You're also able to use your NewsWare to group stocks together, like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
I'm just looking at my Dow stocks. I got 13. I got 16 higher and 13 lower. The rest unchanged. Looking at my FANG stocks, are showing gains of about over 0.5% on all the FANG stocks this morning. So that's pretty positive. We're looking at we're looking at Amazon. That Prime Day sales event is underway starting today. Google, a federal judge ordered it to allow its users to bypass the Google Play Store when downloading and purchasing apps on Android devices. Google's going to appeal that ruling. JP Morgan's bullish into Netflix going into the Q3 report. Tesla's robotaxi day is, 2 days away. That could cause some hype in the stock. Talking Dow Jones 30 stocks, Boeing. We're talking Dow Jones 30 stocks. We're talking Boeing. That 25-day-old strike could be over soon. We're looking at the stock. It is, flat to higher, but talks are scheduled to continue today. We're talking Disney, ticker DIS. Shares are weakening, mainly due to the Florida hurricanes, creating some concerns about theme park attendance. Honeywell, ticker HON. They announced plans to spin off their advanced materials business, and that's causing Honeywell shares to gain 1.8% this morning. That's very positive. In terms of guidance news, Pepsi, ticker PEP, they see full year 2024 EPS coming in at least $8.15. Street estimates say $8.14. That's a yawner. In terms of shareholder events going on, NVIDIA, that AI summit in DC, it's continuing. It's running October 7th to October 9th. Could be something there. Oracle, ticker ORCL, ORCL, they're having a financial service summit today, and it's being held at the NYSE. Could be something there. Keep an eye on announcements from Oracle today. And Google, they're starting their the Google Cloud Summit startup. That starts today. It could be something for Google on that one today. We're talking buybacks, Boston Beer. We're talking Sam Adams, ticker SAM. They authorized an increase in their share buyback program by $400 million. We're talking Catalyst calls, Altera Group, ticker MO, Michael Oscar. Citibank opened up a 90-day negative Catalyst watch on the shares. We're talking APD, that's Air Products. Citibank placed them on a 90-day positive Catalyst watch list this morning, ticker APD, Apple Paul David. And that's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, off to a strong start in October, so what is your pick of the day today?
I'm going to stick with Tesla, TSLA, Tom, Sam, Larry, Apple. I mean, it's all about the upcoming robo-taxi event. Now, the event is going to create euphoria. The event is going to create buying opportunities. The event is going to create, some momentum in the stock. I don't want to play it into the event, after the event. I want to play it into the event. And, that's why I'm looking for it. I'm looking at yesterday's call volume. 708,650 calls traded versus 382,604 puts. Not 2-to-1, but very bullish. And open interest, 3.492 million versus put volume of 2.891 million. That's positive. Gotta like it. Major brokers are neutral on the stock. Yeah, it is overvalued. We know that, but this is an event. It's not really treated as a car company. It's really traded more as a tech company. And they got a robo-taxi event, and that's going to really be a tech event. So, keep an eye on Tesla for some gains today. I want to get in around 243. That's what I'm thinking. If I can get it at 243, that'd be a good entry price. But shares of Tesla, that's where I'm looking for a gain today. Ticker TSLA, Emily.
Tesla it is today. We will follow that along with you, looking for that entry point. And coming up, we will do a recap on yesterday's pick of the day, so don't go anywhere. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Wells Fargo says buy Microsoft stock after downgrading Amazon yesterday. Chinese stocks are fading. Fed stays cool on rate cuts. All right. American Express drops 1% after a brokerage cuts it to sell. Sage Therapeutics falls 21% after a phase 2 trial misses its endpoint. SAGE. Uber, this is interesting. UBER. They're going to start doing airport taxis, shuttle service between Midtown Manhattan and LaGuardia Airport. That's positive. That's a good business. It's going to be charging $18 each way. ADT, Apple, David, Tom, they announced that they got hacked recently. They announced it in a regulatory filing. DocuSign, ticker DOCU, they're going to be added to the S&P 400 on October 11th. DOCU. Pfizer, former CEO, is pitching the board on Starboard's shakeup plan. PFE. Vodafone, ticker VOD, announced a deal with Google to enhance TV and services in Europe and Africa. Google, the DOJ is expected to outline today what kinds of action Google could take in order to restore competition in the online search business. May include a breakup of the stock, though. That's what I know. Eli Lilly, a drug group, industry group, said on Monday they're suing the FDA over its decision to take Lilly's weight loss drug off the list of medicines that are in short supply. Lyft says the company would improve earnings for driver on its platform by paying more for going out of its way for a ride and for those that are at least 5 minutes longer than estimated. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we get to trading today, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was RTX Corp. That's ticker RTX. Now, this morning I did see a Bernstein raised the firm's price target on RTX to $120 from $115. Now, if you recall, yesterday everybody was sort of swimming in a sea of red. You were looking for a sector to play with the Middle East tensions. We're looking at the defense sector, so looking for a gain in RTX. How did your call work out?
I mean, honestly, with the way the market was yesterday, I mean, I was nervous, but I figured a defense stock like RTX, if it fell down to this, 123, 50, 123.25 area, it would be a steal. It didn't hit it. It came when it fell down to 124.25. I mean, the stock opened up at 124.85, fell down to 124 35 apparently, and then closed out at 124.85, exactly where it opened at. So I was hoping for the weakness. It was there, but not as much a weakness as I thought. But it's a defense stock with the Israeli situation going on. Um, I was really hoping for that, so it was flat. I mean, the stock's up again today, so that's positive. It wasn't a loser, it was a winner. It just didn't make the 1%, but it was flat on the day, Emily.
On a day like yesterday, flat seems like a win, and we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Tesla pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Vani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.